I'll fire the first question. So, what we've seen, and as you all know, Filipinos are really good when it comes to storytelling and social media, and it's like our second skin, right? In both film and TV, we really excel in this category. However, digital is more fickle and complicated. What do you think of the works that you've been seeing in this category or in the Boomerang Awards?
I can go
Can I
first.
go?
I will mention one thing that I think all of the marketers should put in their hands, that at the end of the day, the audiences that we talk to and the ways that how we talk to them that we've established ever since way back didn't change. We just shifted channels. We just shifted towards like in your hands instead of you seeing it by the road. It just shifted to within your apps versus, for example, seeing it in a bigger screen in your TV. We just shifted channels, but the essence of storytelling, the core of it, remains to be the same. And the best creative agencies that I've worked with and I've seen so far maximize that. The learnings that they have had like years ago in storytelling and utilize the new learnings that they get from technology to expand the storytelling that they've already started. So I actually want to hear the creative POV on it.
For me, what I noticed, it's really very simple insights, very simple proofs, basically. Very simple executions as well, and easy to engage, very accessible. So, yeah, for me, it's really about simple.
If I look at all the entries from before or from what we had, there are actually things that stood out because it was influenced by the change that the digital has brought on how you can create a content on a story. There were some founded on the insights of Filipino, how you live your lives.
Yeah.
But there were two that was actually influenced by how Filipinos now are leveraging on digital to get different influences on how to live their lives.
Yes.
And that's like the beauty of this evolution that we're seeing. Yeah, it's no longer just, I want to think of a story, but how can I make it really work within this like parameters that digital offer?
For me, when I was reviewing the winner's screen, what really stood out was the fact that some pieces really wanted to entertain more than the other. Yes, indeed. So if I had to reduce things to its essence, I think the more successful ones are really the more entertaining ones. So I thought that as materials and ideas, they were prone to be packaged as pieces that would entertain people. I mean, and I'd love watching like those are the types of close up. At the same time, I can possibly imagine myself engaging with the Twitter idea more as well. So apart from the stories that I think populated the category, I think it really was ideas that entertain. Entertain that stood out for it. Should it be like, does it need to go hand in hand? It should be entertaining and it should be based on Filipino insight and how difficult it is to craft the story with those two ingredients in.
I mean, I think what Lisa was saying earlier is that it never changed. I mean, that's the formula.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean, because we all talk about direction and future and whatever, right? And not all direction is forward.
Yeah.
Right? And there's sometimes there's only certain pieces that do work because these are ads, so they have to be entertaining. Especially now, we're in attention spans have changed, right? Viewing habits have changed.
Yeah,
you have to have the same kind of perspective.
I wanted to add to that point because that's what I wanted to highlight also. You're right that it's still entertainment. It's still the same Filipino insight, but there's one very clear thing that advertisers now need to understand, which is the shift in landscape. You're targeting three different, very strong generations, X, Y, and Z. And all of those generations have their own behaviors that they're very attached to. So if we don't cut, and it actually came out in most of the case studies, like the one that SM did, for example, for the Roblox mall, for example. That's an amazing execution because, like, for me personally, I have like 10-year-old nephews who can code their own Roblox games. Like, if you cannot exist within a space that these younger generations are in, then you are counted as irrelevant for them. You may have appeal over the millennials and the older generations, but What about the alphas? Which is a very strong, I think one of the strong cases also that we've seen in the submissions this year.
Just thinking about, like, because the question is on the entertaining and insights. Like, do they go hand in hand? This is where it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And you need to have a strong insight of what your millennials or Gen Z are doing in the platform. It's not enough that you know the daily lives of the Filipinos. When I say daily lives, like, what are they cooking? What do they want out of this product? But it's more of like, when this person, let's say I'm a millennial, and I go on social media, what kind of entertainment do I want to see?
Yep. Yep.
And then you as a brand, almost on you is that, how can you leverage on that?
Yep.
I have to say this blatantly, but gone are the days wherein the reasons to believe to buy a product is still the way to the heart of your consumer.
Yes.
It's really more of like, now that it's fast, the thumb scrolling, the doom scrolling, we always call that, right? The doom scrolling, like, if you do that, and I don't get to catch the attention, which is entertainment, then I lost you.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
That's like a buck out.
Yep.
Your media, your production. So that's really, how do you balance it now? Having that strong insights of your different audiences, what they do online, and then the insights of the creativity of the storytelling.
What do you think are the biggest challenges when it comes to storytelling in social media?
I think for as an industry, the challenge really is still perhaps maybe showing a desire to entertain. And the kind of my thesis. I think many brands are still insistent on how they like to be commercials and certain. I had that hoping that the TV commercials will be shared and will go around. It has to be. It really has to be entertainment. We realize we're competing against the best content creators, not just in the Philippines but all around. Yep. It's not the ads of our competitors we're standing against. Creating a scene double phone, for example. And how can it interest people that watching my content versus that of double phone? That's the thing that keeps awake at night. It has to be entertaining, and then they take this to heart in the agency, because it's the key for clients to be able to reach markets that otherwise their budgets would allow. We have to make pieces that people themselves will share, so that in the end, our clients will earn media for free for their brands and for their messages, and then save on marketing money. I think media is really the best strategy for people on social media, for brands on social media, and being entertaining. Yeah, it's kingdom.
Go. No. I love it.
Because you mentioned double convert. I remember we had that one discussion with him, because he interviewed him. I think this is now that he talks about the challenge of entertaining and the challenge of social media. And this is the high time that we're in, we learn from each other of it. And what I've learned from my conversations with different creators is that marketers, media, and creatives needs to understand that the content creators were actually the first adopters of this solution, of this service. And even if it's an accidental learning, they're the ones who's expert into touch basing on how do you entertain the target audience, that someone who follows double font. And if you look at this content, it's not about product upfront. It's the surprise that's become the entertainment story. Okay.
I think the difference was that happened during gaps, right? When a show that you're watching is gonna cut the commercial,
That's true.
you are expecting an ad, and before, like, you know that's gonna come, and so it's about, okay, how entertaining can I make the ad so I don't tune out? Because with the advent of the remote control, now I could switch it. So now you're trying to capture the first 5 seconds, right? Now that we're collaborating with content creators, and I think Double Ponyo Philip, this is a great example, because he's able to do one thing that a lot of content creators don't do, which is hard sell within a soft sell.
Yeah.
Content creators' cream or like sole purpose is to be their authentic selves within the pack. So the moment you put in all of these brand promises, all the mandatory, you're kind of ruining the experience, right? So it's also become, in a way, it became a struggle between a content creator and a brand brief. And this is where I always tell my partners, at some point in your brief, and when you're talking to a content creator, a platform, a media, or a creative, there has to be a sense of openness wherein you have to let go of some of the brand principles. Because that's the only time you'll be able to learn that it's different now. Now, a content creator can still be authentic and still sell your brand promise as long as you have this strong strategy and good understanding on who your audience are and who they follow. And for instance, I would choose, sige, let's use Davao Photographer in this case. Who I don't have
Conversation
So when you approach them, you approach them as, who are your target audiences? How do they behave? What kind of content do they love watching whenever they're watching your content? And then the challenge now is, hey, Philip, how do I seamlessly put my brand without disrupting your whole story? And this goes back to, again, the algorithm of things. And algorithm doesn't work just on media placement. It works organically. So the moment you disrupt the algorithm of this content creator with a very, very strong following, you're not just disrupting, or you're not just, I would use the word, this may be strong, you're not just ruining the impact to the brand, but you're also ruining the impact of the content creator. And us as a platform, we need to keep a healthy environment for both. Right. And so there has to be that clear understanding that, again, I would say it again, the moment you get inside that briefing, let go of some of the radical principles and be open.
In our experience, low constant work. The stuff that we get to put out there are basically 1 minute, 1 minute, and 15, 1 minute and 30, but they still get shared and they still get the views and they still get engaged.
On that.
So of course we do have to have cut down, but if you tell your story and if it's based on insight and then it's engaging, again, if it's a material that you yourself will share to your friends, I think long form is not anathema to social media.
Was it difficult to weave in storytelling in social media for that? And then would you use like content creators for McDonald's?
Yeah, definitely. One of our main concerns when we were about to roll out this idea was really, how to make it feel natural to the gamers, basically. So, we really had to, get in touch, with the content creators, basically. So to help us weave this, as you mentioned, these guys, these gamers, when they start smelling a brand somewhere, switching off, or for example, they don't want their games to be interrupted, basically. So before, when we were thinking of ideas on how to, what to do with these gamers, we were even thinking of changing their gameplay. For example, we don't want that. So we really needed the expertise of these content creators, basically, to help us weave this story naturally to their audience, basically.
Based on my observation, there's an obsession with numbers from the brands, from the agencies. How do you think it affects the storytelling?
I would start with content creation first, right? So any campaign starts with an idea, a story, what do I want to project or put there. The KPIs or the metrics per se will happen after. Like if you miss in the moment of the alignment, you miss the technicalities on how to do this and that, then don't expect the numbers to come in. So numbers are different depending on the objective of your campaign. If I want it to be entertaining and I want to say entertainment is equal to the number of views and the intention is to grow the number of views, then you just focus on that. I
wanted to add, because I understand where you're coming from, because a lot of brands like stick with the numbers and that's it. And it becomes like Bible to them. But number data is not in itself the truth. Like it's an indication. It's more of an inspiration for you to kind of expand it a little bit more. Because once you achieve the numbers, you're not gonna stop there. You wanna grow anyway.
to achieve more.
Yeah, so it's directional. So when for example, when brands go to us and media palagi sumasalo ng analysis paralysis. So when they go to us and they have all of these numbers and Liana, this is my priority, whatever, I always go back to them and ask them like, what's the business objective, bro? Because I as media can tell you exactly what business objective you have to, what media objective you have to have so that we can address your business objective. Wag mo na sabihin sa akin yung numbers because I have all of it. So let's just prioritize, do what is best for the brand, talk to your creative agencies. What are the stories that you have to tell? What are the communications that are essential to you? Because the basics of how to build a brand did not change.
Where do you think Filipino marketers' mastery in storytelling and social media will evolve and go to in the future?
Any first?
To be honest, it's about figure out it's with any creative, right? Whether it's music, movies, or TV. If we're talking about Filipino creatives, right? I think one of the questions that I love to ask when I was watching all these wonderful entries was like, ano ba to? Local, ano ba to? Was it a local directive? Was it something? Was not from the
Conceptualized
here.
Yeah.
Because I think it's time that we build our own style and export that style so that we're the ones that were being copied.
Yep.
We're the ones that are being imitated. I think we all have the most talented creatives in every kind of medium. But we're usually the ones being used as the conduits to create something. I think our creatives are fantastic. I think that the journey of the Filipino creative in general should be radiating outwards by pushing inwards.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'm going to make it for my own market, but because it is so good, other people are going to be like, that's fantastic. That's a great idea. And I've seen snippets and I've seen, like a little bits and pieces of this already kind of coming out from the seams. Diba? So hopefully for me, I think the Filipino creative moving outwards, our work being recognized outside is going to be hopefully the future.
I would like to support this with data. So this is where creative and media work together. I super agree with what Jacko said because there are only several things that the Philippines has been dominating the world already in. Besides, we are the text capital previously. We became social media capital previously. And now even within YouTube, we're leading when it comes to entertainment. Count how many Filipino singers there are in YouTube. People who are unknown to us, but known to every other country just because we as Filipinos are great singers. Like entertainment is something that we're dominating already all over the world. It's about time that the creative industry, the brands that we have in the Philippines are recognized outside because of the good things that we're doing. And I even hear it even from our partners from Singapore, from Australia, that some of the executions that we're doing locally are not even being explored outside. So we're already setting standards for a few things. And we have to be proud of those. We have to kind of like be mayabang with those things because those things are real and true stories and case studies that the world can learn from,
Unbranded menu was actually one of the things I was asking.
Yeah.
I kept asking it. I was like, teka, ano ba to? Was this a global
execution? Yeah.
I remember there were two people there that worked on it. So I was like, wait, I kept asking because I couldn't believe that it was. Not because that we're not capable of doing it, but because we never really tried to push our stuff.
Yeah.
It's always like targeting it.
No, go global, yes. I guess on my end, if looking at how do we really get to the content creation of the future, advice to marketers is that at the end of the day, all of us are content creators, right? It's a matter of like, how do we really harp on that and advance that and not thinking of the usual playbook? Because it's disrupted now. It changes. Your audience changes. You have different ideas coming from different directions. But you can always go back to yourself. Like, if you find it, you're lost on where do I begin? I'm on social media. I, per se, is a content creator as well.
Right.
So if I think of the audience is following me, how do I want to track the content for them? And if you can harmoniously apply that to your brand. Your brand is a person. And how do you want your new audiences now can attain that? And then that's where the beauty of this is the story that I want to tell versus like these are the this I just want to sell.
So, Spark, I actually can be wanted to say for me, entertain, and make people cry more, laugh more.
It's true. I have one last, I think, on digital that brands can learn from is before when we talk about marketing and you personify the brand, it was always just brand characteristic. Now with technology, you can personify your brand virtually. And that can be through the communication, the storytelling that communicate. That can be through a chatbot that you can establish within your Messenger, Viber, and everything else. That can be through extended reality, the Roblox experience that you have. All of those contribute to the persona that you're building about your brand in all of these spaces that we have, right? So it's essential for brands to think about how will I exist as a brand in the space of technology that the audiences are already in. So yeah, it's one thing.
Yeah, sige. Actually, may naisip na ako. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And actually, just coming from what Jaffon just mentioned, I was just thinking about, you mentioned about the unbranded menu. You wish it could have been adapted to other countries as well. So, I guess to me, probably one of the things that we need to think about is, to make sure, to find ways to think of ideas that can work also in different markets. In fact, unbranded menu, when we did it, it was about to be rolled out in other countries. Wow. Because the idea was so simple. So even that's the reason why the other countries responded well to it, because they knew that, we can do this here. In fact, it was almost rolled out in UK before us. So we just since it's our idea, we need to do this.
Us first.
So I think it's really important that, that the idea is, so simple, as I mentioned earlier, and it's easily adaptable to in different markets, basically.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for this very good conversation. I think some keywords that I picked up, simplicity in storytelling, right? Simplicity. I think local insight is really, really important. Entertainment. Once you entertain, they will buy after. Yeah, and of course, data and technology are key in terms of our mastery in story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it.